All shapes must have this. So now your turn. It's time for your journey. As a circle, you're certain of a couple things. Your circumference is the enclosed boundary of your sphere shape, and this is your path. This is where you must travel on. It's gray now. It hasn't been made dark and official yet. But one day you'll be a shape you can image in lights and books. You just have to go along the circumference first. You've heard from the others you could take a diameter's path, spanning one whole extreme of the circle. Pick a point on the circumference and make a line to the very opposite side. Or you could take a secant path that could be even shorter than the diameter's route. Pick a point on the circle, skip a couple units of area, then end up on the other side, but then continue running outside the circle now. If you took either of these routes, you'd spend less time traveling on the shaky, questionable, hard to see circumference, which is an attractive proposal. But you're an intelligent circle, two-dimensional, yes, but not dumb. You know traveling on a diameter's path would chop you into two semicircles, and you'd be incomplete, no journey traversed. Or even worse, on a secant path, two unequal pieces and then gone from your home. And the circle is the shape you most know and love if you're leaving your most favorite place. All must be uniform, all must be equal and pretty numbers, as you were not made to be an abstract shape. And you begin. The ghost of your circumference yet to be drawn goes brunette then black as you glide along the curve, your planet, your Earth, circumnavigating the edge of yourself. You've once heard about a center of the circle. A place from which all points on the circumference are equidistant, where there's happiness and hope that makes the circle's outline a sure, beautiful, and fulfilling shape. You don't quite believe that to be true and real. If the circumference is drawn and the task is done, what else do you need to make yourself the circle that you are? Well, the circle that you're going to become. You've gotten along just fine as you've been, but glimmers of doubt flicker inside you, tracing out the outline, leaving gray spots behind you. You see a point off to the distance, always to the right of your position. It's the end point you're traveling to. Rationality tells you. There's no center of me to find. That's until you saw the bolted arc. That's what you thought. This specific part of the circumference, this certain curve, this is rocky and shaky and hard to see and uncertain. And to your right, there's a glowing sector, a region enclosed by two radii. You know these radii. They're the halves of the diameters that other shapes spoke of with a reverent fear. And your fear tells you that a radius is a line from a point on the circle to the center of a circle. These are the reasons to go off the path. These are the temptations and straying forces that lead you to another journey. When a manifold is hidden by units and units of sector, but without consent you creep along inside the sector now. Without a line you stride upon, you panic, filling in no points land, searching for the comfort of a circumference or even just a radius to latch onto, just some path line to be on and not without a guide. But you will not stop traveling in the space. Well, maybe this is a diameter or a secant math. Maybe you've gone out of the circle and you're on a different plane with no name. You didn't even know you left. Maybe you're just kidding yourself. You're never going to be a circle. There's no circle for you to become. Something's got to come along to stop you. That's just how it works. There's going to be some block to stop you. Some endpoint. Yeah, there was an endpoint. You found your center. And the joy of this discovery shines through your placement and out to the outline, coloring you with every shade of elation, with hope. Everything you love is inside the center, and you do not fear leaving this place when the time comes that you must, because on every point of the circumference, you're the same distance from center. You will never be too far from your center. That is truly the most certain thing of all. You know you need to experience this frightening ordeal to find your center, and you wouldn't rather have it happen any other way. And when it's time to move on, you find another place to play. It's called a segment. It's a site in between the rocky arc and the corner line that links 2 points on the circle. And this is the place outside your comfort zone where you might fly and twirl and swirl and design more shapes in the area of your circle to decorate your beautiful home that you love. And when the time comes to return back to the circumference, you can and you do. And you're not disturbed when you find there's no final endpoint on this path, and therefore none of the journey. For as a circle, you must keep going and go and go and going and going and going. You're not finished. You'll never be finished. As a circle, you've learned a couple things. You'll not always have pretty numbers. The formula is done to study your shape and distance of endpoints, and your existence will produce messy results. That's fantastic. Everything used to be, oh, you've heard them say, they've told you, well, now you know. You say. Sometimes you may go from the comfortable circumference, go out, have fun swimming in the segment, and sometimes you will go out into the sector. Sometimes you will be scared of the radii that surround you, but you will return to being loved and remembered and accounted for as you're a shape, you're undeniable. And while you're enormously and happily skipping along the circumference, remember you're never too far from your center. You know now, the path is the journey.